So what was the overarching issue to be addressed on behalf of our clan? In taking the scope of all of our projects together, we are working to target two ongoing issues in the local community, that being the reduction in the number of euthanized animals due to a lack of resources within many government-owned shelters, and the restoration and organizing of historical documents which have been displaced and damaged over time. In engaging in these activities, we are taking the leap to ensure these effects are minimized in the short term. What was the objective of my service learning project? So within the context of my project, I had set out to aid a local no-kill shelter by the name of Gulf Coast Humane Society, which would in turn promote the organization's continued operation throughout the pandemic and allow for animals out in the wild to have a temporary home while being treated for malnourishment and any other injuries, both mental or physical, that they may have sustained. Throughout the process of volunteering at the GCHS Caddyshack Cafe here at Gulf Coast Town Center, my hope was to improve the cognitive response of many cats to the sights of humans and help to foster a more sanitary environment for both the animals and the visitors themselves. What went well with my service learning project? Were there any failures which would occur along the way? In the process of volunteering at the Caddyshack Cafe, I was able to assist various cats by the name of Jill, Chip, Edgar, Tiger, and Chris, just to name a few, in their recovery to becoming rising stars on the adoption priority list. However, the original goal which I had set out to accomplish in regard to improving the photos of the cats on the website would never come to fruition, since it was difficult to find a point of contact from within the organization who had the time and access rights on the website to dedicate towards overseeing this operation. How did my service learning project relate to the material found in this course? So my project relates to the element of serving for the reason that this venture alone opened my eyes to the many impairments that a cat can endure in their lifetime, and served as a means to educate myself on the ways a volunteer can go about in helping to assist these particular animals. Furthermore, the element of giving applies since a great deal of care was taken to ensure each animal was interacted with, whether that be through general mingling, cat treats, etc., not to mention be presentable to the world for adoption in order to grant each pet a chance at making it into a good home. So what was learned in the process? In the process of undertaking this service learning project, I learned that all animals are different with regard to what activities keep them engaged and non-dormant in the eyes of visitors. I also learned that just like in humans, mental wounds take a long time to heal in animals as well, since it took time and patience in ensuring that a few of them would even respond to the sight of a volunteer.
My name is Rainer Ritter, and I've been volunteering with the Estero Historical Society. I have set out to simplify the archival and organizational functions of the Estero Historical Society, and while it is a tedious and repetitive process, I am making progress. Guiding my work with the Estero Historical Society are the foundational elements of associating, serving, and leading. I am serving the organization by undertaking a task everyone knew had to be done, but no one had wanted to take the time to do. I am associating with a historical organization, the settlers of Estero and their descendants who live on and share their stories of an evolving Southwest Florida. I am leading the organization by creating something that will be used for years to come and serve as the foundation for future archiving. I utilize problem solving by recognizing and addressing a pressing issue within the organization, and I utilize critical thinking by determining how best to organize existing materials and categorize them for future use. Through my volunteering with the Estero Historical Society, I have gained a deeper appreciation of the history of Estero and Southwest Florida. I'm learning that an organization takes the work of many different people using many different approaches to serving, and through that, their community.
I'm Isabel, and I had planned to socialize cats and volunteer for a no-kill shelter, while also being able to tell other people about the opportunity. I was able to accomplish both of these goals. I volunteered my time after going through orientation. I spent time with the cats and played with them, and I also cleaned out their areas and helped other volunteers with their tasks. I also told many different people about the volunteer opportunity, and 2 of them decided to do it, I know for certain. One of them decided to volunteer even though they had already fulfilled all of their service hours. One roadblock for me was that I had to move partway through the semester to a different area. I had to find a new organization and recomplete an orientation, which means I started volunteering much later in the semester than I had planned. Our whole clan participated in the element of giving, by giving our time and effort. Giving is not always about physical objects, it can be also intangible as well. We were able to give pets new homes or give our time converting historical documents to digital ones. We also had to encounter ways to problem solve. I had to be able to adapt and find a new organization and solve the problem of me moving back home and still having to get my project done. I was glad that I asked other people about shelters in Lakeland because my aunt already had experience volunteering for the SPCA. I also participated in civic dialogue, speaking to my friends about service and what they could be doing to be more involved in the community. I learned that many people are much more receptive to helping and volunteering than I originally thought. I'm quite introverted and get nervous when speaking out, but no one had a bad reaction to me telling them about community service. Even when I was volunteering, I was unsure what they needed help with, so I asked another volunteer and got to know them and help in a more efficient way. Socializing cats is important for their behavior, and keeping areas clean for them makes sure that the animals don't get sick. People should know that even small contributions can help in the long run and keep places like no-kill shelters operational.
My project is in collaboration with the Calusa Humane Society, which serves this community by rescuing and sheltering animals in need. My goal throughout this project was to accumulate supplies to donate along with assisting in dog walking, bathing, and care on the weekends. I utilized various civic engagement skills and elements throughout this process, like problem solving and civic dialogue. This project impacted me by expressing how important it is to be civically involved in our community. I also learned many necessary skills throughout my volunteering process that will stick with me forever.
The community-based issue that I addressed in my civic engagement project would be community-based food insecurity and providing food relief during this time of the pandemic. Regarding helping food insecurity, the food bank was the perfect place for me to look at because their purpose is to collect and distribute food to hunger relief charities and the local community. A little explanation of my project and objectives, success, and results were, again, I worked with the Midwest Florida Food Bank, which is in Fort Myers, and the results of my project were that we got huge amounts of donations from my teammates, coaches, other athletes, other people that I had no idea were gonna end up being really important people in my life to pursue volunteering opportunities at the food bank, which is awesome to see, and I could not have asked for anything more. Some elements of civic engagement that were presented during the duration of my volunteer work at the Midwest Florida Food Bank would be serving, giving, leading, and associating. Some techniques of civic engagement that were presented when working with the Midwest Florida Food Bank would be problem solving and critical thinking. Without problem solving skills in an environment of the food bank, we really need to be on our toes and thinking quickly, so problem solving is a really critical technique. So overall, I feel that the impact of my project had a very positive influence in my life, the people that I was working with, and the people I was helping out. By being able to be very hands-on with the food bank volunteering process of collecting donations, packaging foods and skids, I not only feel very accomplished on my part, but I feel I did make an impact on my local community of Fort Myers.
For my project, I did it on the FSTOP Foundation, and their tagline is Photograph, Educate, Conserve. FSTOP Foundation is the main objective for conservation through wildlife photography. They have about 120 plus cameras all around South Florida, and their target is the Florida panther. So that's where FSTOP Foundation comes in. They use high definition cameras with flash capabilities. They're all motion activated, but they're non-disruptive to the animals. They're eco-friendly, so they're not ones that are going to be chopping down trees or drilling holes in trees. They take short clips, usually about 1 minute to 2 minutes long. And since they are motion activated, a lot of the clips will be just wind blowing the trees, but a lot of them, takes hours to go through, but they're really cool images to see still. Here's a map of Florida and all the different locations and sites that we have cameras at. And that's ranging all the way over up there from like Sebring up there all the way down to basically the very tip of the Everglades, all the way over to Fort Lauderdale. So after we get this information, all of the videos are reviewed, sorted, tagged, and stored. So other volunteers in the FSTOP Foundation will review the footage that's there. They'll sort out what's usable versus unusable. So basically, if there's hours worth of just trays swaying in the wood and in the breeze, we're not going to use that. Till they'll sort it out to only ones that have specific meanings or usable images in them. And then we'll tag them with what the image is, and they'll store them in a database so that they can look back on them whenever they need. Tagging is my actual job. So the first thing you need to do is observe what's happening in the clip and then document it. So you'll document the location, the species, the age, the gender, the time of day, activity seen, and the initials of the tagger, which is me. So my initials will be MLD. The location varies from wherever your camera site is. Every week or so I get a new folder from my supervisor. I go through every single image. Every folder is from a different location. So I get to see different parts of Florida, which is really, really cool. My rewards, I would say critical thinking and problem solving are two big things with this. And this picture is an example of it, because I use critical thinking as you rewatch these videos over and over and over again to make sure you've noticed every little thing. And if you notice in that little green box, there is actually a third deer in the background. You can just see his ears as he's walking away. So these are the type of things you've got to use the critical thinking and the problem solving to make sure you're getting everything correct. Awareness and education has been huge for me, just because when I think panther, I think Carolina panther, not Florida panther. So I've actually been able to educate myself as well as my family and those around me to the importance of this beautiful animal and the conservation needed for not only the survival of many species, but just our ecology in general, needing the Florida panther around. And the community outreach has gone up for me just because I'm used to going to work and going to school and going home. So now I'm able to be out and helping my community in some way, shape, or form, which is really cool. The remaining safe thing brings me back to my work, just because I do work with COVID-19 patients. I need to be able to do this safely, so this is an all online forum. So this was a perfect thing for me.